your goals.
Hey everybody, this is Allie Craig, and this is Spark Stories, where every single week we bring you another spark, another story that is from someone's heart, that was that reason why they started their business, they started their nonprofit, that changed their life and changed the direction of everything that they're doing. Today we have the amazing Nicole Dennersesian. Lord, I hope I got that last name right. And her spark story, and wait till you hear it because it is so interesting and so diverse, and more importantly, something that I think a lot of people can relate to, and a lot of people really on many levels would envy in a very good way, because, well, you're doing what a lot of people want to do, because you know what? You're doing it.
Yes.
Love that. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yay.
So give us a little bit of your background. Just give us a summary of what in the world got you here to this day and everything that you're doing.
Well, that's a very long story, but let's see if I can summarize it. I'm a talker, so good luck. So right now, I guess the best thing to say is what I'm doing right now. I own a talent agency. I represent actors for television, film, commercial, and print, and musical theater, Broadway people. And the way that it all began, I was in the Las Vegas company of the Phantom of the Opera for 6.5 years, which was my dream to be in a Broadway show. Booked it, so excited. I cried like a baby when I booked it. It was my dream. It was the first show I actually saw when I was 11 years old.
Wow.
So being in the show was like by far the most amazing experience of my life. During rehearsals, we sang Masquerade, and I literally was like, I'm singing Masquerade right now with Broadway performers. This is amazing. Like, it was amazing. I did the show for 6.5 years, over 2,600 shows of the Phantom of the Opera.
Whoa.
And nobody 2,600. Like, nobody understands what that is until you've done it. I could probably do the whole entire production of Phantom of the Opera for you right now if I had to. But it was, again, my dream. The show closed in 2012, and I wanted to transition from being a Broadway performer into doing more television and film. And so I moved back to LA, which is where I'm from. And my agent at the time would not sign me across the board because they didn't see the transition of a Broadway performer into television and film. And at the time, I really didn't understand it, in that I feel that Broadway performers are like the most talented people. And I'm not even talking about myself, I'm just talking about Broadway performers in general. In the fact that they can not only act, but they sing and dance as well.
All at the same time.
They do it, all of it, all at the same time. And they have to do it live. Like, there's no pre-tape.
Yep.
It's like,
there's no mess up.
Yeah. You do it, and if you mess up, it's in front of a live audience. Like,
yep.
And you don't get to redo it. It's over. So I didn't really understand why there was no transition there, and why they wouldn't not only just sign me, but when I found out that my friends were having the same trouble, that confused me. By then, so when Phantom closed, I also already had a production company. So Firestarter Entertainment was a production company. One thing that you'll learn about me, hopefully, in this interview is that I don't like to sit around. I'm not really good at, like, complacency. If I have time free, I will fill it. And so my call time every night was like 6:30 p.m. So what am I going to do for the rest of the day? Do stuff.
Start another business. Start a business.
So I taught voices. I taught for 15 years. So I continued teaching while I was doing Phantom. But in addition to that, I wrote 2 shows. One called Our Voice, a celebration of Black women in music, and another called The Soprano Sisters. I cast my Broadway friends, and I got that show booked around the country in universities and theaters around the country. We would all take off from our respective shows, and then we would travel around the country and perform them and do talkbacks with the kids about, being a Broadway performer, which was amazing. So when we got our first booking, I was like, well, I guess I need a company so that the school could pay them. And so I created Firestarter Entertainment from that because I needed something so that they could pay, and then I could pay the actors and yada, yada, yada. So I had my production company already. And then at the same time, there was this little girl. So I also produced 2 albums while I was at Phantom. And I did an album release concert, and I wanted a little girl to open the concert as me, like a young version of me. And so I did a little casting call, and this little girl named Cassie Thomas came through the door, and I fell in love with her. I was just like, oh my gosh, you're the cutest little person in the world. And at the time, I was like the Las Vegas voice teacher. So I had 15 of the people in Lion King in the Las Vegas company as my students. And 3 out of the 4 children in the show, who were the young Nalas and Simbas, were my students as well. So when she walked in, she was 7, she reminded me of these other kids. And I was like, oh my gosh. I told them, I had never taught anyone for free, but I love this kid so much. I was like, listen, if you guys can make it to my house, I will teach her for free, and I will train her for the Lion King. And I'm like, I don't know what will happen, but I just think she's perfect for the show. Long story short, Phantom closes. They call me I put her on tape a long time ago. They said she was too little. Phantom closes. I'm in LA. I get a random call. Hey, Tessie, we really liked her before. She was too little. Can she be in New York? There's an opening on Broadway for the Lion King. We get her to New York. She auditions, and she calls me from New York. I'll always remember this call because I was working one of my first, I also do award shows sometimes. So I'm at an award show, and I'm surrounded by these nuns called the Carmelita Sisters. Look them up. I've never met a nun in my life. But they were the nicest women in the world. It was meant to be that I got this call surrounded by these wonderful people. And I'm surrounded by 20 nuns. And I get a call from Tessie in New York, and she's like, Nicole, hey, I booked it. They're taking me to get fit in my costumes. I booked it. I gotta go. My phone's running out. Bye. And I'm like, what is happening? It didn't make any sense. Because what you will learn, so a Broadway performer, they will fit you in the costumes before you will book the show. 100%, like one of our clients is currently doing Glenda on Broadway in New York. And before they literally called me and said, okay, listen, we want her for Glenda, but she needs to go to the theater right now. We will book her today, but she needs to go to the theater right now. Literally, like in the next 30 minutes, she needs to leave. And if she fits the costume, she's got the job. If she doesn't have the job. That's how intense it is. And it's because on average, those costumes are around $20,000 a piece.
Wow.
So they're not going to build a brand new costume. They need the actor to fit that costume. So when she called, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe she's misunderstanding. She's getting fit to make sure she fits the role. So I emailed the casting director, surrounded by these nuns. I said, did she book this, or is she just getting fit in her costume? And he writes me back immediately and says, yes, she booked it. She has the job. And I literally start bawling. I'm like, and these nuns are like, are you okay? And I'm like, this little girl changed her life. Like, I couldn't even speak. Sorry, microphone. So, that happened. Her contract came, and I was assisting with all this whole process with her mom and everything. I was helping them out. And her contract came, and on the contract it said that I was her agent under the agent line. It said Nicole Pryor. I hadn't yet adopted my married name. And I was like, no, I'm her voice teacher. And that was like the Oprah Winfrey aha moment. So at the same exact time, my friends and I couldn't find representation across the board for TV film. This little girl just booked Broadway. I assisted with that. I had my production company, and then I see it in writing, talent agent. And it was the aha moment. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna turn my company from a production company into a talent agency. And that was the moment. And then my husband, who's been an entrepreneur his whole life, encouraged me to do it, because I never intended to be. I'm an accidental entrepreneur, but he made me believe that it was possible, and I did it. And it took a couple months of processing, and long story short, long story long, the company came to be, and we went from, I signed not only Tessie, but 13 of my friends, who were my Broadway friends, and now almost 6 years later, we're like 5.5. We have over 700 clients in both New York and LA. And I have a team of about 13 who assist me with the process. So a bunch of agents, assistants, and our physical office is in LA, and it's amazing. Like I can't even fathom it. And just I want to say yesterday, but the day before yesterday, I was on set with Tessie, who has a recurring role on Raven's Home on Disney Channel. And I got to go, and they have like a studio audience. And so I got to go and watch her on set. And I literally was sitting there like, oh my gosh, like it was the culmination of all these years of work and dreams, and just like, I can't even put it into words what I felt in that moment. I just saw this little girl on the Disney Channel who many years, I've known her since she was 7 years old, and now she's 16. So 9 years later, and she's like on the Disney Channel with Raven Simone on, like, I still can't even put it into words.
Well, I just love that your spark, it was there the entire time, but you so didn't see it. Like, it's like it took this amazing act of God to just be like, wait.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Especially because I was a Broadway performer. Like, I was an actor. Like, that was who I was.
Yeah.
It took me years even. I don't think until maybe 3 years ago I was even comfortable saying I was a talent agent, because I still saw myself as a performer. And so it's like, well, I'm a performer who also owns this talent agency. Like, it just didn't compute. But I will say, because initially I was going by my married name, Dennersesian, who was representing Nicole prior. So I was submitting myself and everything else. And I went to I'll always remember the day I became a talent agent for real. Because when I started the company, it wasn't for real. It was just a means to an end. But I went to a Parks and Recreation audition. And I walked in there. It was my first TV film audition that I got for myself. I walked in there. It was like one line. And we said it a couple times on camera. And I literally walked out of there. I'm like, what was that? It was the most ridiculous audition of my life. Like, I was like, I don't know if I did well. I don't know. I mean, anyone off the street could have said that line. Like, it didn't make any, I was like, so I'm going to have to go to these all the time. And musical theater auditions are so different. You walk out of there and you're like, I just did that. I sang, I danced, I did all these things, I acted. That was like literally, do you want fries with that? Do you want fries with that? Do you want fries? Like,
how do you say it?
I was like, I could say that a million times. It was so not satisfying. I walked out of there and I'm like, yep, I'm not doing this anymore. This isn't it. And I'm so much more fulfilled by helping others fulfill their dreams. And it doesn't mean that I'm not still a creative person. It doesn't mean that I don't still sing and I play piano. I do all of that. It's a big part of who I am. But running the business has fulfilled me so much more, which is so crazy to me. And I'm excited about, doing other things as well in the future. I want to produce and create. I used to say I wanted to be Audra McDonald. I love her. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's a Broadway star. She's also done TV shows like Private Practice and things like that, I believe. But she was who I wanted to be as an actress. But now I always say I want to be like Lin-Manuel, Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, because they're creators. So they create their content, but sometimes they put themselves in it as well. So when I look at them, they're business owners, they're entrepreneurs, they have so much more fulfilling them than just the performing side. And I see now that that's so much more of who I am. I'm so much more fulfilled by the process of business. It's so much fun.
Well, you're already Oprah and Tyler Perry in the sense that you're just even the production company. Yeah. It's like you had a need.
Yes.
So you're just like, well, I'll just create and fulfill it, basically.
Exactly.
I'll fix this problem right then and there.
Exactly.
I love that. So then now that you're representing all these hundreds of other people,
yes.
What about that does it every single day gets that spark going? Because let's be honest, being an entrepreneur, there's moments in being an entrepreneur where you're just kind of like, okay, this kind of sucks. Like, it's a bad day, something's happening.
Days that I'm like, can someone just hire me?
Yeah, exactly. So what is
I say that to my husband all the time. I'm like, I just want someone to come and rescue me.
We all have those moments. I think anybody who does. But when you have a spark that's kind of driving you, yes. It kind of can bring you out when everything else looks kind of doldrummy at the moment.
Oh my gosh, it brings you out immediately.
So what is that for you? Like, what is it? Is it seeing one of your people get booked, or is it, going to have a new experience? What is it for you?
Honestly, I think it's playing out the scenario of working for somebody else.
That does it too. Yep.
You think it in the moment and you're like, oh, it'd be so nice. And then you're like, wait, that means someone else has to tell me what to do. That means I have to do it someone else's way. That means all of a sudden you play it out and you're like, wait, that's not even close to what I want. Especially because what's great about being an entrepreneur is that if you have a vision and an idea of how you believe business should be run. So remember, I had never been an agent when I became an agent. So I didn't know how an agency was supposed to go. Yep. I always tell students, because I do a lot of talkbacks with at universities, and I always say, fake it till you make it, number one. Number two, it's not brain surgery. Most things are not physically brain surgery. People say that as a quote, but really think that through.
Yeah.
Brain surgeons, they have to go to school. I hope that they went to school and they do it exactly how someone taught them how to do a brain surgery. Most things are not that. Your mistakes are not going to kill anybody. Mm-hmm. And so just do it. And so what's great about it is I can just do it without having to answer to anybody else. If I have a vision on how I think things should go, I can do it without answering to anyone. I am a very honest. I believe in transparency. That's something that the entertainment business really isn't. You could tell with my speech, I'm very open and honest with how I approach things, and that's not really how this business is. People really keep things very close. And our clients will tell you that we're probably the most honest and open agency around, and we're also very we're good with correspondence. That's one thing that our clients love about us, is that we actually get back to our clients when they email us with a question. We actually email them back or call them back, and you don't get that a lot in this business. And so early on, I was like, okay, my goal is to get. All I need to know is my goal is to get my clients work. That's it. That's what a talent agency does, right? And I used to tell my clients, listen, I can't promise you that you're going to be a star tomorrow, but I can promise you me. I'm going to work my butt off for you. That's all I can promise you. And I always say our clients' dreams are their dreams, and we don't have the right to drop the ball on their dreams. If we ever at any time think that we can't fulfill our part in fulfilling their dreams, then we should not be representing them at all. And that happens too, because there are times that you sign somebody, you believe in them, and it's just not working out. And I always say, listen, I hope that there's an agent out there that can assist you in your goal, because my goal is your success, and that success doesn't have to happen with me. That's it. Clients leave all the time. They'll be like, oh, I have to go. Another agency is calling. I'm like, go, because my goal is your success. And I just spoke to a manager the other day, and she was just like, you're better than me. Because when a client leaves her, she's like, they're gone. They're dead to her.
Wow.
And I was like, that's not how I operate. If a client leaves, they're leaving because it's their dream. This is everything that they ever wanted in their whole entire life, and someone is promising them more than I can offer. Why would I hold them back from that? And what if that is the thing that's going to make them more successful? And if it isn't, I'm going to welcome them back home to us, and we have, because of the way that we work, people do come back and they are successful with us in the end. But keeping an open door policy is, unless of course it's a client that doesn't want to come back or we don't want back, which is rare, but we keep it open.
But what an artist approach, though, because I think if you didn't have that musical background, if you didn't have that artistry background, you wouldn't approach this industry this way.
I possibly, I think so. I think a lot of it's rare that most of the agents that I work with at my company have been performers in the past, so we do approach it very different. We have an artist perspective, and we understand what it is to have a dream. All I ever wanted to do was be in a Broadway show. That's all I ever wanted when I was younger. I used to write about it in my journals. I just wanted to be successful in the entertainment business. And so when these people come to us with their dreams, I understand it on a visceral level. I get it, and this is all I want for them as well. And so I work passionately to assist with that. And if anyone that I'm working with isn't as passionate about it, and the clients as well, if I find that the clients aren't passionate about it, it's not going to work either. I'm like, I've had clients many times, I'm like, I think you should be an accountant. I sense, even one of my agents, she'll tell you, she was very meticulous with how she put together all of her stuff. And I was like, and it was while I was building the company, and I started to need help, and I was looking for someone to come and help me, on a part-time. I was like, do you want to come and help me on the other side? And she's like, sure. I was like, you can still audition, do all that. Now she's the head of my theatrical department.
Wow.
But you can see that in people, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're like, I don't see that you have a passion for acting, but you don't want people they have to come to that decision on their own. And so I presented an option to her, and she took it, and now she's the head of my department and thriving.
But what a great gift that you had, that you can see that into people and then help them either live their dreams that they know they have or discover new ones.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great gift.
I think so. I always say that who you are today isn't permanent. And don't let your childhood self dictate who you are today.
Yes.
I think a lot of times, the one thing that I found, especially in the entertainment business, I'm sure it happens other places, but the one thing that I know about an entertainer is it's who we are, it's not what we do. So as a performer is why it was really hard for me to even say that I was a talent agent, because as a performer, it wasn't what I did, it was literally who I was. Like, I am a singer, like it's who I am. And so if you give up on that dream, you are a loser. Like, you feel like you've given up. You feel like you've given up on all the things you ever wanted for your life. And so but you might not be that person anymore. You literally might not want that anymore. But in order to avoid that feeling of being a loser and giving up on a goal, you just force it.
Yep.
And you try to keep pursuing it, and it won't happen because you're not really full-hearted into it. But, so I always say to people, do not let that childhood self tell you who you are today, dictate your path today. If you are no longer a performer today, you aren't. And you're not giving up on yourself. You're allowing yourself to grow. You're allowing yourself to change. You're allowing yourself to move in a direction that you're going to be more successful. If I had not pursued the talent agency thing, remember, it was just a means to an end. That was
an accidental. That was an unintentional, but wait, it turned into so much more. Yeah.
Exactly. But if I hadn't allowed myself after that Parks and Recreation audition, like, I could have forced it and been like, nope, I'm going to keep going to these auditions because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to, like, be an actor. I'm supposed to, and instead I recognized that, no, this isn't who I am right now. Like, I don't like this. I let myself let it go. I was like, no. I'm going to focus on the talent agency. I'm going to build wealth and money from the talent agency and put that into content that I could create and produce and have that side of my creative side as well. And that's what's next for me, which I'm so excited about.
I know. So tell everybody what's next, because you are growing and evolving, but yet it's still all rooted in that initial spark and passion, and now it's even going to a deeper level to serve others.
Yes. I'm so excited. So I'm turning 40. I know. I look like I'm 12. Thank you.
Own it while you can, girl.
Thank you. But I will be 40 in a couple weeks. And before I was telling her earlier before we started the interview that when you're younger, well, at least for me, I was always devastated turning older. And for the first time, because I have a clear direction and I know exactly what I'm doing and I'm proud of what I'm doing, I'm so excited to be turning 40. I feel like I deserve to turn 40. And I'm happy to share that I'm turning 40. And I don't look 40, so that helps.
That always helps.
People are always shocked. They're like, what, you're 39? How? I'm like, it's true. So what's next is, so like I said before, I'm a creative person, always have been, loving running my business, amazing. But what I'm excited about is, like I said, Lin-Manuel, all these creators who are creating content. And so I decided that I wanted to start a nonprofit organization called Inclusion Media Group. Look it up, inclusionmediagroup.org. And this organization is basically going to be creating content. So all forms of content. You've got theater, you've got television, online web series, whatever content, but it's all based around diversity and inclusion. My goal is that when people of unique backgrounds get together and realize that they have so much in common, they could create friendships and long-lasting bonds that can then bring down the barriers, and we can know that we're so much alike and less different so that we could eradicate prejudice and racism. Because if we knew that we were so much more alike, we wouldn't hate each other so much. When you don't talk to somebody who's different than you, you don't know that you don't like them.
Well, and I just love that you're doing it through a media group outlet, because we love the media.
Yeah.
We love the media, but let's be honest, sometimes the overall general stories that are out there, the narrative, it doesn't speak the truth that, hey, our humanity, that's like 98% of we all have the same thing in common. So let's focus on that 98.
Exactly.
And we're not going to care about the other 2 in the end.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
And I love that you're using media to do it, because I think media can be mismanaged, but also I think media is the way that everything, we're just becoming so much more consumers of media.
Yeah.
So you're speaking to the hearts, the minds of really where everyone's at already.
Unfortunately, for the fact that I love media, let's start there.
Yeah.
But it's become, I'm at the airport often, and when you look at every single person sitting, waiting for the plane, they're all on their phones.
Yep.
Not one person is looking up, communicate, like they're all on their phones. And so it's the easiest way to affect change. It just is what it is, because we're all plugged in. So if we can create content that speaks directly to the consumer, it really, unfortunately and fortunately, is through media, because they're all plugged in. There it is.
And once again, you're embarking on a journey that, hey, you don't necessarily know all the end pieces, just like when you started your talent agency.
No idea what I'm doing. I'm excited.
No, but here's the thing. You still have the clear goal. That's what I love. Your spark is still going to that clear goal and that clear direction of helping people get their stories out there, get their dreams fulfilled, and having it do in a way that's going to help humanity at large. Like, could that be any better?
No. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Yeah.
So, where can people connect with you?
So you can connect with me in lots of ways. So I'm on social media, clearly. Nicole P. Pryor is my tag on Instagram. You can follow me on there. Also, with Inclusion Media Group, just go to that website. What's great about that is we're looking for people to contribute in all ways to the goal of and our mission. So we're looking for filmmakers, we're looking for actors, we're looking for writers, we're looking for every kind of person that makes media to donate their ideas, themselves, their energy, even influencers, anybody who wants to just talk about what we're doing, so that we could all together build this. So if you go to the website, you can put your information out there. It says on there, you could click on which one you want to do. Like, I am an actor. You click on there and it'll tell you how you can contribute your acting talents.
Well, and what a great way also, not just have people help out, but also, hey, if you're looking to become an actor, if you're thinking maybe this is a great way that you can put your foot in the door.
Exactly.
Love it. Yay. Thank you so much for sharing your spark with us and everything that you're doing. If her story hasn't inspired you to go out and just do it, it's never going to be perfect. You're not going to have all the pieces, but you can still have the success if you're just willing to try. And that's exactly what a spark and living your spark is all about. So see you next time, guys.
Thank you so much.